This episode of the podcast is powered by the Salina Moose Lodge, 1473 here in Salina. And here's your weekend game plan, and let me tell you, it's stacked with good music. On Thursday, May 29th, it's Jason Grisham from 7 to 10 p.m. On Friday, May 30th, it's the Green DeVilles from 7 to 10 p.m. as well. On Saturday, May 31st, it's Country Acoustic from 1 to 4 p.m., and then Saw Crush takes the stage at 7 p.m. And finally, on Sunday, June 1st, it's the Evolution Band playing from 4 to 8 p.m. But then, on Wednesday, June 4th, something special's happening. We're throwing a very special celebration for Jim Monroe Founders Day, which also happens to be Jim's birthday. Expect live music from 2 to 10 p.m., TwoDads Food Truck, yours truly on site, and some surprise moments throughout the day. You'll hear sets from Dean Axe, Roger Demands, Jason Grisham, Josh Taylor, Greg Klink, Isaac Busher, Zach and Steve Rosenbeck, and Caitlin and Frank. It's a full week of great music, great people, and good vibes only at the Salina Moose Lodge, 1473. If you want to be part of something different, something special, and something unique, join the Salina Moose Lodge today. Hello, and welcome to the Two Dads Podcast, episode number 15. My friend Slick Willie to my left. I'm your host, OG Pickle. How you doing, Bill? Welcome home from Santa My Butt Crack or wherever. Where were you at? What was it called?
Hey, how are you, buddy? We were at Santa My Boots, Morgan Wallen's Santa My Boots concert down at Gulf Shores, Alabama. And my gosh, am I glad I'm drinking a Diet Coke and not a beer right now.
Did you have a lot of alcoholic beverages while did you consume some of the adult beverages?
Josh put a line out on DraftKings. I smoked the over.
How many? What was the over under set at?
67.
4,000 beers. 67 and a half. How many days were you out there?
3.5.
What's
days.
the math on that per day?
18.4.
That's pretty good. You almost had a case a day,
Someone
right?
check that math, but it's right around there.
That's my ops guy for you.
No, it was great. We were down there, so it was a 3-day festival. We got down there the day before, kind of went out to Floribama down there and stuff like that. So it was good. Morgan Wallen was there. Post Malone was there. T-Pain
Brooke was there.
Oh, yeah.
I saw Brooke from the Moose. You were on the flight, okay? Yeah. And if you guys don't know this, if you're just tuning in, if you've been living under a rock, this is the 15th episode of the Two Dads Podcast, and we're sponsored by the Salina Moose Lodge 1473. So, ironically, Brooke is she manages up there. She's up there all the time, and you saw her on an airplane. She sent me this really weird photo. I'm beginning to think she's a big fan. First of all, shout out to everything she's done. She might be a stalker.
A little bit stalkerish.
This really kind woman sent a photo of like, hey, they're on it, and we're calling her a stalker.
Yeah, so we both got on the plane ride in Columbus to Pensacola, and that's kind of where we both ended. They were on vacation down at a beach down there. They didn't actually go to the concert, but I got a text from her. So it was me, Haley, and a random girl on the aisle, right, in our seats. And shout out window seat, by the way. Window seat's the best seat.
No, it's not. I got to finish this story. We're going to get to that real quick. No, it is not.
So I get a text from Brooke, and it's like, be nice to my niece. And I'm like, I think you texted the wrong person here. Like, I don't know who your niece is. And she's just like, seriously, be nice to her or I'll get you or something like that. And I was like, what in the hell is going on? She's like, I see you. Or you're on a plane. That's what she said. And I'm like,
it is getting a little stalkerish now that
I'm
I
like,
think
how
about
do you
it.
know I'm on a plane? And she like hollers. She was two rows behind me and like on the right side. And
dude,
then,
what are the odds? Like,
one and one.
There was yeah, true. That's true.
1,000%. No, but anyway, so that was cool. The worst part about that was I got a carry-on backpack, right? Personal item, some would call it. Mm-hmm. And I got just drug in the mud by my boys. I always put my backpack up above the cargo.
You're talking about your carry-on bag. You're talking about your personal bag?
Yeah, just a little backpack.
Why are you putting that up top? You put it under the seat in front of you.
Why? I mean, I need that foot room.
Okay, why don't you finish this story, hotshot? Why would you put it above instead of underneath? Go tell me.
I need my foot room underneath. I'm 6'2". I need to stretch out a little bit. Sorry for the short kings out there.
You just picked the you don't want the aisle seat, which offers arguably the most leg room because you can get it out there as long as there's no trolley. And you're whining because you said window seat's the best, and now no wonder you have to keep the stuff above. You've got me worked up today on episode 15. Go ahead. Okay.
We finally started on boarding this plane, right? We get out in the aisle. I grab my black backpack right off the top row, right where I put it, and I pull it down, and it is not my backpack.
Oh.
So I've got an Albert Sporting Goods embroidered backpack. You can't miss it. It's like I had the very similar one right beside it. Someone took my backpack instead on accident. So I asked the steward lady, I'm like, hey, what do I do? Like, someone got the wrong bag. She's like, I can't help you. You're going to have to go out there and have them do like a PA announcement across the airport.
That's a prayer.
Yeah. So I go out there and I'm just going out there, and all of a sudden they put over the PA and here comes this girl like scuttling back, just face red as a cherry. She's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, here's this. I said, let me check, make sure everything's there.
Smart.
All 6 wristbands for the whole thing was there. $600 a pop. My wallet, my passport, my headphones, my dignity. 6 beers.
Everything was in there?
Everything was in there. So thankfully nothing was taken. Everything was good. No, I'm a big fan of the window seat for the only reason is you can just lean your head up and just kind of sleep up against it.
Yeah, you get the neck room, but I prefer the leg room. I mean, you can get one of those like neck pillow things. There's a lot of options.
Those don't work.
They definitely work. You're a non-neck pillow guy too?
I mean, I'm a window guy.
So you got a stiff neck and lost baggage out of that one.
Yeah. So.
You know, we have Kyle Gutman coming on here later. We have a lot of stuff I have so much history with that family. That was my first job. He's got a funny story about being having to get back. I think he's got one where he was in Lambeau and he had to make it home for an emergency. I think Amanda was having a kid and he didn't have his credit card. We'll have to ask him about his plane story when he comes on here.
Another Packers fan?
Another Packers fan.
There's 2 of them?
There's Rob Wente is also a Packers fan who happens to be a part of this staff.
Borderline a baker's dozen at this point.
But you had a good time.
I had a great time. I don't want to ever see the sand again for the rest of my life. Walking back and forth a quarter mile in the sand.
Was it hot?
Oh, dude, it was 90 degrees, and the worst part was like, you're trying not to get sunburnt, but the UV was like 9 the first day and 10 the next day.
So if you were going to describe a UV index to like a small child or maybe even a grown man with dyed hair, what is that? What is the UV index? Just out of curiosity, asking for a friend.
The UV index, think of it this way for anybody that is not smarter than a 5th grader or has blonde bleached hair. It is just the strength of the sun. So a 10 means like you're going to get sunburnt faster than you will here with a 2. So if it's overcast, it's probably like a 0 to a 2. There was not a single cloud up there, and it was just beating down on you.
Honestly, you look pretty good for being in that kind of sun and boozing all weekend.
I got a perfect burn base. Like if I had to take my shirt off on the podcast, I'd be like a nice medium brown right now.
That would be a good sponsorship.
Yeah.
We could try to get some like suntan screens or SPF whatevers.
Yeah, gonna need it. But Kyle Post, shout out Kyle Post. His son, he got sunburned on his feet for sitting out on the pool floaty.
Ow!
His feet, he was literally had to mop on sunscreen the second day because they were so burnt.
I'm just glad you came home safe, buddy. As long as your tush is good and your mouth can still speak, we've got a podcast to do, and it's good. It's good to have you back.
Hey, I had a great time down there. People love the "Hey, how are you" shirt.
Dude,
I wore it like the second day.
I have so much to catch up on with that because if when we talked about merch in a couple episodes prior, I was like, yeah, the "Hey, how are you?" that could be like a special edition, maybe. Like, it didn't. I started wearing it in the truck because you printed one. Shout out to Alberts again. You got 2 plugs there, Zach. I'm gonna start charging you, but. You gave it to me, and I started wearing the truck because, like, think about the POS. Like, being the front face of the food truck when you're working, just a "Hey, how are you" is like a perfect icebreaker. Yeah. So many people have come up and just be like, "Hey, how are you?" And they just, which is weird because they just read the shirt back to me, which I never thought about that, but, I've been wrong in merch before. I think that's a good seller. I think you came up with a great, I don't know if it's just, did you even come up with it? It was just a natural line, wasn't it?
I just think it was kind of my intro to say like, "Hey, how are you?" And then most of those people down there were like, "I'm good, how are you, buddy?" And I'm like, "Wait, oh crap," like the shirt. So it went over well. Everything was good. We got home safe. Got back to work today. So don't love work, love the beach. But yeah, glad to be back. How was the chicken truck? I mean, we went back to Boardwalk for the first time.
Homecoming.
Reunion. Yeah, homecoming.
Yeah, let me get you a little, let me try to work the
Did you take
button.
Tasha or Rich as a date?
I took Rich and Berkey, so
wow.
2 dudes.
Yeah.
It was nice.
The
They're
boys
really
are back in
hammering
town.
home that non-gay TwoDads Food Truck name. We're really crushing that, bringing 2 dudes in the truck. Tasha stopped by. She was working the Boardwalk Boat and Bike Show, but it was fun, man. It was really cool to come home. What was even cooler, and you'll appreciate this as an ops guy who goes on vacation all the time, is we actually had data from last year.
Yeah.
Last year, we're flying by the seat of our pants. We have never done any of the events we did last year. This year was our first repeat event. We had a chance to do it twice. So for those that don't know, last year we were at the Boardwalk Marketplace. We stayed out there from Thursday to Sunday, and we typically just worked the truck like it was home base, right? And then we did a couple one-off events. One of the one-off events that we did was the Boat and Bike Show. Last year we did. It was our first event ever, a great event, a lot of learnings from that. We ran out of chicken very quickly on the Friday, and on the Saturday, we had no inventory prep, so we spent, I think we were supposed to be open at 11. We opened around 4, and we sold all by 8. Like, we had no staff, no operations, no clue what we're doing, but this year was a little different. We brought a lot of inventory. We brought a lot of chicken. We brought plenty of staff. Everything was good. And honestly, it was a super successful day. The only caveat was long days, a lot of prep. I'm learning a lot more about the preparation process for getting our French fries ready, which we double fry, so we have to have that done earlier before the shift. But it was good to have data. The weather sucked. The weather was awful.
I saw that. Was it Friday or Saturday? There was a borderline tornado coming through.
It was so weird. Everybody does this weird thing in Ohio where they just walk up and I'm like, hey, can I get you something? They just stare at you and they go, it's gonna rain soon. Like, you're just like, okay, all right, thanks. Can I get you something? Like, nope, just letting you know. And then they'll leave and then somebody else goes, hey man, I just want you to know it's gonna rain soon. People why do they want to shit on my day? All right. Well, either way, they were right.
Some would view that as being courteous to you.
Yeah. All right. Fair. I need to be a little more optimistic.
Sorry to rain on your parade here. Hey, Mitch, it's raining outside, buddy.
This is why you have to tell people I'm like a funny guy, like a weird guy, right? Like he's like, Mitch, he's just trying to talk to you. He's asking if you're okay. No. So we could see this wall of clouds coming in. Like you could look across the lake and, it was definitely coming on the radar. We checked it and it hit like a truck on Friday. And it was really weird. We saw it for a second. We said, we better close up. Our table was getting ready to fly. Chairs were flying. We pulled everything in, and that was me, Berkey, Rich, and Tasha just hunkered. And this truck trailer, look, we got stuff to stop the tires, like wheel chocks. Yep, we got heavy propane tanks holding us down. We're on the ground. We're a heavy truck as it is with all the appliances. That thing was rocking, dude. We put some music. It was like a rave in there, dude. We were rocking with this thing. And Berkey,
were you streaming at the same time?
Yeah.
That's great.
Dude, we have some footage maybe we can get, but like the camera went out like a halfway through. Dude, everything went out. Like power went, like it was not good for a little bit. Berkey looked at me and he goes, if I'm going to die, I don't want it to be here.
Die in a chicken prison?
Dude, no one wants to die in prison.
Yeah.
So it was good on Friday. It was hurricane-esque weather here on the fabulous lake of Grand Lake here in Salina. And then Saturday, better weather, colder. But dude, if you had an umbrella, you'd just fly away. See you off of the sky. It was probably 20 to 50 mile per hour winds.
Jeez.
No, it was probably 20 to 30 mile per hour winds, which I know people are dying to get out of their houses, but it's not exactly conducive to like picnic weather. Like you're not going out like, hey, it's going to be a great day. Let's go up to the boardwalk. So we had some inventory left over. We never sold out, but we did really good. And I know you had an update about some of the comparisons from last year, even at the Mercer County Fair. So what you said you wanted to share that here?
Yeah, I we won't go too deep into the figures, but we'll make a comparison for it. I looked at the app when I was got back from drinking that first night at the concert on Friday.
That is so responsible. That is literally called drink responsibly.
Well, I was just pumped. It's like I know this event was going to go off, so when you get back, I get the Toast app open on my phone. I'm seeing 3 different numbers.
All your family's like, Bill, come back to the party. You keep just refreshing the Toast app to see the same.
We're working. So I'm just saying, ching,
Haley's
ching,
crying
ching.
In the corner. Bill never stops working.
Two dads. But it was good though. I saw Friday. Friday was a killer event. And then I saw Saturday was a really strong event. So hour by hour, Friday was definitely better than Saturday. Just for hours worked and dollars brought in.
Sure.
So for comparison, we crushed last year from
Hit it, baby.
Boat and bike show. So we crushed it there, but it was a hard comparison because we have a whole year of momentum versus the first. So I went against the fair last year, the Mercer County Fair.
Sure.
So Friday and Saturday versus the fair versus boat and bike show this weekend, we were only like $100 less than the fair, and the fair just thumps. So I'm overly concerned at what the fair is going to do this year.
Yeah, that's exactly my. No, I think an optimist, which I'm optimistic, right? Like I go into things with good intentions. That really scares me for the fair.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous for the fair now because if the boat and bike show, which was, we left profit on the table last year, and it was a good event. RCS and Boardwalk does a great job of, they just have a perfect environment. It's so cool up there. But the fair has just people with the intention of coming out to spend money in droves.
Yeah.
We're going to get hammered, dude. And how many fairs do we have this year, Bill?
1, 2, 3. 3.
The very German Ray family, yeah.
Talking about schedule, though, I do want to say, we've had just an absolute pouring amount of support and requests to come out to a lot of events. Mm-hmm. And it's getting to the point we're turning a lot of people down, not because we don't want to, just because the capacity is not there. And this, it gets me to the point where I think a second truck next year is something that I know we talked about it earlier, just financials, how we're going to be able to financially support that. But I think it's going to happen because we're getting ready to book out in 26.
Yeah, we also got asked by Van Wert again today. You know, last week, if you listen to the episode, I gave a shout out to our friends on Main
plugged
Street.
them and said, "Hey, we should still do that."
They were like, "Oh, I forgot about that." Yeah, it was in their to-dos that they kind of put in the parking lot for a little bit.
Yeah.
No, they came back today again and said, "Are you interested in a restaurant?" So again, we talked about it last week. Restaurant would be cool. I said it to you though. You're like, I don't even know where to start with that, and neither do I.
Yeah.
The thing that we like about the truck is the scarcity. It's that you get to go to events where people are, like I just said, like apt to spend money. Like you go to a fair. And if you decide as a family to go to the fair, I think subconsciously or even consciously, you're like, I'm going to go spend money.
Yep.
Like I'm bringing money, I'm bringing cash, I'm bringing my cards, like whatever you choose as a tender, you're still coming out. I keep thinking of chicken tender as I said that, but you're still coming out to get chicken tenders, right? But I don't know, man. I think they said they got the perfect place for us. I always say, I'll always take the meetings.
100%.
You'll always take the meetings. And so we'll see, but we asked you this last week. You said your first option is to have a second truck.
Yeah, I think, and I guess it looks at what does the overhead look like at a restaurant and everything else.
Terrifying.
Like that. What does? I mean, it's pretty much a controlled cost for the food truck. Like I know what going into it. The margins are very strong when we do good.
And I could say no.
Yeah.
You just said that, like we had some events come up recently, right? Like we get some emails, and God bless Bill, because I get these emails as like it's just my name on the email service, and I don't even read them, and I forward them to Bill. So you're just getting raw dogged with emails that are just forwarded with no context right now.
I keep thinking that they're going to be like we just had an example this week where we had like 4 events in a row. 4 days in a row, 1 day off, which is basically a rest/prep day for the next 3 days. And he sends it, and it was scheduled right in between there. And I was like, Mitch, like to do this, we would have to do this. He's like, I don't even think we can take it, dude. I'm like, why the hell just send it to me then? He's like,
all right, let's talk about bad habits first of all. I'll go first and let you know. I have 2 bad habits when it comes to tech. One, if it's like that, I'll just forward the email and I don't read it. Sometimes if your email's too long, I don't read it. And if it's in a strand of 15 replies, I don't read it.
You got to send him a meme first. It's got to start with a meme, get his attention.
It has like a wind-up little monkey, ching, 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 ching. The second thing that I do, that's a very bad habit of mine, I don't save contacts in my phone enough. And this past week, we've been getting more texts and more invites and more people following up for sponsorships and stuff that are new contacts. I had a wall of numbers not in my contacts list. We were looking for guests for this week, and I was texting the wrong people. I tried to text Kyle, which I didn't save. Sorry, Kyle. Now he's saved. I did it today. But I texted like 3 wrong people. Like just 419 numbers getting roasted with like, hey, you good to show up at 7? And like, what are you talking about?
I mean, it doesn't shock me. But
I know. For you, it's like, yeah. Kyle walked in, actually, just a fun fact. He goes, Bill, how many kids you got? And Bill goes, oh, just 2. It's Riker and Mitch.
It's true sometimes. No, as long as I feed him beer and he gets the content out, it's a pretty good working relationship. But the one thing I did want to know, Cousin's Maine Lobster was the only thing I was really concerned about at Boat and Bike Show, because I saw them out on at TSC on 127 like a month ago, and I wanted to get out there just to try.
Sure.
I've stopped at like 5 or 6 different food trucks just to test everybody out, kind of. Like I just go up there and say like, okay, what's your ordering pattern? What does your truck look like? I look at my watch when I order it, see what their tack times are, see prices, just compare and see how we're doing. I'm not trying to brag, but I mean, I think our ticket times for what we cook and chicken is extremely quick. A lot goes into the prep side of it, but how'd that go? I mean, was the line long? Did they take a lot of competition? Because it's something that people around here can't really get.
Yeah, it was interesting. They're a high cost competitor, meaning the average cost for like a lobster roll is like $30 to $60 you're probably spending for some kind of, it's not cheap. I mean, the cheapest thing on the menu is probably $18, and it's probably not substantial.
Yeah.
It's probably like an entry level thing. I was really intimidated when they came up because you see this food truck that's 3 times our size. Okay.
Size doesn't matter though.
That's right.
Put it on a shirt.
Right, guys? That's
Haley!
Haley, come down. Can I show you something without being judged? So then they came out, jet black truck, 3 times our size. Food Network stamped all over it. Shark Tank stamped all over it. Every endorsement from any legitimate company you could imagine. And I was a little nervous. They dwarfed us. Like you couldn't see us down the street. If there was a drone shot or anything like that, they covered us up. So I'll be honest with you in saying that I'm a competitive guy. I always will rise to the occasion. I definitely won't bow out. But was I nervous with that? Yeah. what we learned, to answer your question, was we do a really good job. Our ticket times, like you said, was amazing. We are a low-cost competitor next to a high-cost competitor, so I think that worked in our favor. Like, listen, in Cincinnati or outside of our territory, we might have got our butts handed to us, okay? Because not to say that the average income is different, but I think Mercer County people are more conscious of how much value they get out of their dollar, not afraid that to spend or anything like that, but to get the value out of the dollar. So to see a $30 or $60 option next to a TwoDads truck where you could get 2 giant all-American dads, 2 sets of fries, and a drink for like $34. Think about what you could feed like the whole family.
You get this little lobster roll.
Yeah, and you get it versus a lobster roll. So
Yeah.
I think it worked in our advantage. I think it got me thinking about culture a little bit more, specifically like this hyper-localized culture. And it gave me a look into people that are certainly fans of us, because a lot of people came out. They were very complimentary of the podcast. They were very complimentary of the chicken. Happy to see us from last year again, who got to have us for the first time. But a lot of very good things and more good things to come. So before we go on to more tech side and bring out Kyle Gutman, who's going to talk to us about ag and robotic milkers. I think I dated a girl with robotic milkers one time. I'm not really sure. No names included.
Yeah,
but
we'll leave that out of here.
Exactly.
Upcoming events. You guys will hear this on Tuesday the 27th. So the Van Wert Food Truck Fest will have already gone and passed, but we do have that on Monday the 26th. Once you hear this, it will be the 27th, and then this weekend on Saturday, May 31st, we have Joy Fest over in Fort Recovery.
Cool.
So that's cool. And then on Tuesday, we have the big MVP Dairy Cowabunga. So I saw you've been shooting some skits with Allie and Allison over there. We'll let you get into those a little bit. And then Wednesday, June 4th, we have Jim Monroe Day, which is out the Salina Moose, going to cover, it is his birthday. They're going to do a big event for him. He was a big part over there at the Moose. So Jim Monroe Day. So if you've ever known Jim, ever been to the Moose, come out, support. I'm sure they're going to donate money somewhere. We'll have food out there for you guys.
We also are going to do a portion of proceeds donated to the Jim Monroe Founders Day too. So a portion of proceeds, we'll just announce it now. We're going to take a certain set amount. Obviously, we have to figure out what we can do, but anything that we can. Yeah. Why did I say we?
How
Go
did
ahead.
we lose $6,000? But then on Saturday, we're going to head back to Minster for the food truck rally. We'll be out there from 3 to 7, and a lot of people have asked about that, and I've been getting pretty excited because we're heading over there. I know we were going to go to Bremen Fest earlier this year. I know things kind of fell through there for a couple different reasons. So it's a big week when you guys hear this. So come on out and support. And as always, Mitch will get into the tech side of these things that will actually hopefully incentivize some of you guys to get on the Twitch, log in, and in a really cool rewards program we're working on a little bit for you guys to try to continue to pay it forward and do good for everybody. This area is incredible, and it never ceases to amaze me how much things are just donated and given just because good generosity and they want to do good things. And for us to help platform that and take that and give it to other people, it makes me feel really good.
Yeah, we just actually, before I got here, I just dropped off some money for the Plaza Lanes.
Oh, yeah.
We're very passionate about bowling. I grew up at Plaza Lanes playing there on weekends when I would go to my mom's. So love that. We got to sponsor that, giving back. Again, just to touch base real quick on the Cowabunga event, shout out to Allie Cups, who was on episode 8. I got to go out there and film with her. It was an amazing time. We have a lot of really funny skits coming out for the June 3rd Cowabunga kickoff that we're going to be out there serving up chicken. So I'm excited for that. Check the Instagram. You'll be able to see some stuff, but I got to give some shout out. I got to go back into cow barns. I got to pet cows. I got shit all over my Nikes, which again reminded me of a good time. Reminded me of back when my first job at Kyle Gutman's dad Randy's house, where I was a city boy and had no idea what I was doing. So shout out to them and shout out to
You made a career out of that.
I did. Bullshitting. That's come from the bull semen guy
Cow
to bullshitting.
Yeah.
It goes full circle. But yeah, on the tech side, just to get this real quick, we do run a live stream, okay? And that live stream this week was so generous. They handed over $150 out from the Twitch to people at the Boardwalk Boat and Bike Show.
That's wild.
So people would come up with $30, $40 orders, and I'd be like, it's on the house. And they'd be like, what do you mean it's on the house? And I'd be like, yeah, shout out to the Dave Darren. Make sure you say hi. Or shout out to like Butt Canoe 55. You know what I mean? Like we were just, and they would say hi to the camera and stuff. But it is getting bigger and bigger with a digital community who loves this hyper-localized Mercer County area. The people are so friendly. They're always willing to talk. And the people online are noticing it. So what we're trying to do now, just to give you guys a side of my the nerd side of my life, because that's a big deal of who I am.
Nerd alert.
Nerd alert. What's happening is I'm putting a computer inside of the food truck. And what that computer is going to do is basically when somebody donates to give, right? If nothing happens, your brain is just like, that's a really cool thing. But I can kind of enhance that with dopamine and serotonin and all these really good things that the brain likes to feel with lights and sounds and alerts. And so what I'm interested in doing right now, and I'm working on it, is we have an LED system inside the truck, okay? Follow me here. I'm someone online, and I'm like, wow, I really want to pay it forward. We see it happen all the time with coffee shops and at McDonald's lines and whatever. Like, I want to pay for the guy behind me. People want to do that in this digital community of my life to the Mercer County area, okay? So when that happens, what I'm working on right now is that we have multicolored lights that'll go off, and it'll make some noise through our speakers, and basically the people online will have alerts that they hear in their own computers, but I can rig this thing up so that it's almost like, remember the show Cash Cab?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, you know, where it's like a trivia
in a
thing.
random cab.
It will offer us things like that. Imagine if I walk up to you and you come up and say, hey, how are you? Can I take your order and your bill? So just follow me here. Let's play along.
6 All-American Dads, extra mayonnaise.
Hi, nice to see you. What can I get for you?
6 All-American Dads, extra mayonnaise.
Okay, excellent. For a free 6 All-American Dads, are you interested in playing a trivia right now?
100%. Yeah,
There
what
you
do I
go.
got to
See,
do?
we can do stuff like that, but I can have like come out the back. We can make it like the Price is Right. We're doing food trucks differently, my friend, and me at the helm with doing this computer stuff. No robotic milkers inside, but I will put some robotic enhancements to make this a fun experience for everyone involved.
Have you ever seen like those milk, just like the udders I was thinking about, like just having dad sauce just come out of them? That's how you put it on your sandwich. Just
Can you
like,
imagine
an
we just
udder?
have a cow on the table out there, but you got to udder?
No, one thing
Is
would be
this
cool.
a bowl with dad sauce coming?
What if like Dan and Darren, whatever their name was, donates like $20, right? They want to donate for an order. They propose the question.
Oh, that could be really good.
They're like, hey, what's the capital of Washington? If you get it right,
I love
free
that
meal.
you're so innocent that you think that the first thing someone on the internet, a stranger on the internet with no accountability, that hides behind a username, the first thing you're going to ask is the capital of Washington. There's no way. It's going to be dick and wiener jokes all the time. It's going to be as bad as you think it is. And,
just tell them, hey, it's got to be, family friendly to a degree.
Okay.
To a degree. We
set
got
the
kids
tone.
out there.
Otherwise, I just pocket it.
Yeah. Otherwise, say, hey, if you want to be disrespectful, then no. Sorry. No, we could also do it appropriately. You wait till someone that's, you see me walking up to order. Okay, I got this guy.
Trust me,
I can
we'll
get this guy.
have some fun with this.
Yeah.
The unasked questions of the Two Dads Internet is good, but I'm excited. We have an awesome guest. We have a lot to go over today. We still have Kyle coming on. Today's guest is building something special right in Maria Stein. He's a full-time farmer using robotic milkers. I talked to you about that earlier. Yep. And he runs one of the last drive-through feed stores around, distributing for Walnut Hill Feeds. He's proof you can build modern ag business in a small town and still stay true to your roots. His wife, Amanda, also runs a daycare.
Very nice.
And I think they got like 5 or 10 kids. I mean, it's chaos in that house. They farm a ton on the ground, and together they're juggling more than most, and they're just making it work. And this one's a little bit personal. I teased it a little bit. Kyle's dad, Randy, that was my very first job. And I realized I hated milking, and I wanted to go to college. And with that, let's bring on Kyle! This ad break is powered by MVP Dairy. Hey, folks, mark your calendars. June 3rd from 3 to 7 p.m., it's all going down at MVP Dairy. That's just off US 33 outside Salina. It's a family-friendly bash with TwoDads Food Truck, face painting, crafts, a treasure hunt, tractors, and yes, cows. Lots of cows, actually. Grab your tickets now at dairylearningcenter.com or follow MVP Dairy on socials, and we'll see you there. So don't miss out on the movement. Kyle's here. Thank you again for coming on. I appreciate it. Look, I teased it a little bit before you got here. You got a lot going on. You got the farm, the feed store, some more side ventures, and a wife who owns a daycare.
Yep.
How do you even describe what you do to somebody? I run into this myself with like, what do you do, Mitch? And I have a lot going on. What would you say to somebody like, hey, Kyle, what do you do?
Just keep things in front of you, man.
Perfect.
Set your goals where you can meet them. Keep it in front of you. Just treat your wife how you're supposed to treat her, and she'll react.
That's good. That's good to hear.
She'll react. Maybe not always good or bad, but did you always know, though, you grew up in agriculture, right?
100%.
So did you always know, Mitch talked about it, I talked about it. We worked in agriculture when we were younger. It wasn't the family business, right? So we were on the outside looking in. Did you always know you were going to carry this throughout your whole life, or did you ever kind of question yourself?
105%. I was going to stay with it. and keep building, watch grandpa, watch dad, turn it into something. I'm like, wow, now I can do something. And, every avenue of the farm we upgraded and continue today. You have to stay in it. That's part of agricultural. People are leaving, and then the bigger ones are getting bigger, which sometimes turns into bad problems, which you get to big corporate, which try not to get there, But no, that's 105% I was going to be in it. And
That's awesome.
Do you remember the first paycheck you got on the farm, or did you, what kind of grunt work were you doing earlier?
Well, here's a bull calf check. Here you go.
So for someone that's listening, Kyle, they don't really even me. I'm a little guilty sometimes. I dabbled in milking and stuff, but that's 1/10 of what a hired hand even does.
Right.
Describe to someone a day in your life. When you show up in the morning, start us at 4 or 5 in the morning.
Well, with us, for me, for sure, I show up and I check the pregnant cows first.
What time is that?
Depends. I try to sleep as long as I can.
Depends how many beers you had the night before.
True.
Woo.
See?
Mercer County boys.
Yeah. That was the old Bush Light.
So walk us through a day, though. I want to hear.
You get up. Well, with robotic milkers, my life changed, as you mentioned. It's not 5 in the morning all the time, every morning. Now robots do call. That's the problem.
I can't wait to hear more about that. Go on. I've just
So whatever time it is, 5, 6, I get up and I walk through the pregnant cows that are ready to calve to make sure there's no new ones on the ground that need taken care of. And then if there's nothing to do with that, you move on to the cows that are milking. So our cows milk all day long by themselves, supposed to anyhow. And if everything's working fine, you go get the fetch cows, you call them, that are cows that didn't go in within 12 hours of milking. So then you make your list, and then you go get them all in, and then they'll milk. And then you just clean everything up. We do have automated scrapers. Been that way for 25 years. So they'll just keep scraping slowly as the cows are mingling. The scraper thing will just keep scraping back and forth. So that's taken care of. But yeah, then we just clean everything up again. And
Do you also grow anything? Do you have any crops or anything like that, or just straight milk, just a straight dairy farm?
Oh no, you have to grow all the feed for them. Corn silage, which is their main feed, which everybody knows corn, but we chop it before it gets too mature and sile it. And then haylage, wheatlage, rylage, triticale, all your forages you make and then sile in the spring. If you've seen the choppers run around this spring, between raindrops, mention again. But yeah, everything's in sile. Then you have to buy a lot of ingredients, which you guys might not understand. A lot of ingredients are bought in, which are expensive. They say cows need them, so we purchase them.
It's good.
We have a nutritionist who, probably makes a lot of money to tell us how to feed them, what to feed them, and then we have to buy that material to feed them. We follow his formula every day. My father tumbles the feed every day and dumps it out to him, and yeah,
That's crazy, man. I think there's probably people that are listening right now that are naive to how much goes into farming. Even talking like this, I grew up on a farm. My dad didn't do any cattle, right? We rented a lot, and then he rented his fields out. So he was more of a businessman about it. He did his sales job, but he had a farm, and then he rented out the acreage to nearby farmers who wanted more acreage. Even I hear these stories sometimes, and I feel a little naive to even how much goes into this business. We whine about cutting potatoes and breading chicken. We hate that. And the commissary and all these things that are climate controlled, and just, he's and here's Kyle crawling on the ground to try to get this thing done or get some fetch cattle. You know what I mean?
I think it's crazy just to hear. I was literally going to ask you, I said, what's one, my thought was, and you might have answered it, I said, what's one thing that people out there don't really know about farmers? And for me, the takeaway was already that cows have a nutritionist. To me, that's wild to think that, think back 30, 40 years, you guys probably just threw the same stuff at the same time of the year, maybe some notepad scratches, but how does that work? Does it change often? Does it change based off the weather? Is it pretty much the same, menu item for them?
Depends on the forages you make. They take samples of it, take the analysis from it, and prescribe a diet for you. So it's not like you boys going up to a buffet line and grabbing what you want. No, these girls eat what we give them.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally have to eat what we give them.
At sand in my boots, I think Bill was so drunk he would have ate what you gave him too. So
Well, my silage recipe was off down there. I didn't have the availability, so I
you
just
serve
went
the
with
cattle beer to the cattle.
Yeah, I
Let's
just
talk
went
about
with
the robots though. How do robot milkers actually work? Because you teased that you said the milkers will call you, and sometimes it's this, and the cows are supposed to go. What is a robotic milker, and how does that work for people that have no idea what we're talking about?
Basically a machine in a factory. You put one in, and it does 55 cows. And you put it in a place where cows are conveniently access it. We sprinkle some pellets in the feed bowl. They wear collars that tells them what their number is and if they're allowed to get milk. So they're just constantly walking in, gates close, yada yada.
Wait, the chip inside of it will open if the cow needs milk, and if it doesn't,
chip
doesn't
on their
let 'em in?
collar. Then it reads it, and then if she needs milk, it'll wipe her, prep.
Wow,
Put it on her,
dude.
And the ones that don't listen, named Mitch, you got to go cattle. You got to
go.
Yeah, I would be a
corral
fetch
them in.
cattle, right?
Yeah, you probably would, Mitchell.
The next fetch cattle, I want you
At
just
least
to,
20 years ago when I knew you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
brand
it's
them
still no, nothing's
Mitch.
changed. It's just a little bit older. It's just a little bit more facial hair, a little bit more dye in my top hair.
So, I appreciate the operations. We went out to MVP Dairy and I watched their operation a little bit. And, from 20 years ago when I was actually on a farm till now, it's like, woo. So, when did this really start? You said your grandpa did it, your dad did it, you're doing it now. When did really the manual stuff go away more to the automotive? Was it just recently? Was it, your dad's era? What was that? Because a lot of older people, they refuse change and they don't like technology. So I could see that being an issue in that field.
That is correct. Grandpa milked on the floor, if you know what that means.
Yep.
Yeah, he was doing that, and then my dad's like, we can't do this. So he actually put a nice parlor in, right, Mitch?
Oh, it was really, dude. It was stainless steel. You could push the button. The milkers came down. It was definitely a lot because I had worked hired hands afterwards. I'm not gonna. I don't want to hijack your story, Kyle. But here, so I worked for the Goettemoellers. It was my first job. I think I got paid like $6 an hour. It was not much, but it was enough. And they expected me at 5 in the morning. I just hated my life. But it was such a nice stainless steel. You had good milkers that come down. You put them on there. You put iodine on. Blah. They're gone. Right. The hose system was really good. Later on in life, Dad said, you need to have a job. You got to keep having a job. I think I was 13 or 14 with a moped, and he'd zip me around. Anyway, I'm going to leave this farmer's name, but their parlor compared to where I was very spoiled. So I love that the innovation was happening in ag. Still hated both, but go on. So your grandpa milked on the floor. Your dad started innovating. Go ahead.
Then Dad built this parlor, probably the state of the art, I would say. Holman Equipment, the neighbor's business, built it, and it was Bomatic. And Dad went up to Wisconsin a few times and tried to find something he literally wanted to milk in the rest of his life. And so we brought that home and built it. And I loved it. Probably what made me stay in farming 105%. So, I graduated high school. And speaking of that, you in study hall or whatnot, you're always looking at YouTube. It's like, man, robotic milkers. That's just a dream, right? Just a dream. Well, one day Dad goes, I don't think we need to be busting butt in this parlor anymore. There's robots to do this. Let's look into that. Went to a farm, and we were hooked.
I mean, that's fascinating. So let me ask you this. Knowing what I know dangerously enough about farmers, I don't know, I wouldn't say I'd be able to give them exact personalities, right? But I would say innovation, like you said, Bill, is a little apprehensive. Right? Like change is not, regardless of the industry, change for people is difficult. Were you guys put on a different pedestal? Did people look at you cockeyed? Like you guys are doing robots and nice, like you're investing in your business in ways that make your life easier. I don't know, coming from the generation where it was supposed to be hard, I guess, was there any did you catch any flack for it?
Well, yeah, kind of, because like Mitch said, we did have a nice parlor. I wanted to milk more than 220 cows, and that would require more time in the parlor. Mm-hmm. So Dad was like, well, you're going to get married and whatnot, so let's think about this. And yeah, we were hook, line, and sunk, and 9 years ago already? And yeah,
You've had robotic milkers for 9 years.
2016.
How long have they been out? I mean, you said you were talking about YouTube videos. You graduated in 07.
Those have probably been in Germany. There's a few in the area, a few years ahead of us, but yeah.
So you got robotic milkers. You're innovating ag. You're certainly taking farming to a more modern level. Obviously for about a decade now. But you also built a feed store. So you have an entrepreneur mind, and as you know, we love to interview entrepreneurs this year. And I don't think farming, first of all, gets the credit for being entrepreneurs, because it is. I mean, you're doing the marketing, you're doing the analytics, you're doing the data, you're doing everything, right? Like the business and the flow and the operations. You wanted to start a drive-through feed store, which is not exactly common anymore, right? Like it's been killed. TSC came out, and there's other, obviously, feed stores that have hindered that because it's been more corporatized, like you talked about, right? You talked about big farms coming in. It's not always good, and there's problems. What made you want to get into that? Like, what was the initial thought? Like, you and a manager sitting down, you're like, yeah, I just want to flip some farm stuff. Like, why Walnut Hills and why a feed store?
He had all that extra time from the automated milkers.
Yeah,
he had to fill it with
he's
something.
got to fill it. Yeah, he's not watching Netflix.
Correct, Mitch. I wasn't. No. You mentioned that if you get opportunities and they're good, take them. So I had the opportunity to do it. I could do whatever I want with the opportunity, and I decided to make it a drive-through. And the feed company that gave me the opportunity was like, build it. Like, well, that didn't take much. Yep, build it. So maybe they had faith in us when they seen us and talked to us. But yeah, it was something that I came up with after I was given the opportunity. And
why? Why'd you want to do it? Like, what is it? Are you just a builder? Like, tell me a little bit about Kyle. Like, what was it?
I love people. I love talking. I love interacting. Just love everything about. You can't live this life alone. You can't. It takes a lot of things going correct for a guy to succeed, guy or a woman to succeed. Yeah. So after given the opportunity, I'm like, we're doing it. And after it came about, people are like, oh, that's a great idea. I'm like, it is?
I agree. Which one of the two, I mean, which one do you spend more time at, I would say? I mean, I know you got the automated power. Your dad's probably still in the mix of it. I don't know if your kids are old enough to really start working on the farm necessarily, but which one do you spend more time at, and which one, I guess, consumes more time from you?
So actually, we set it up. So we hired a lady, a really good lady, and she kind of runs the feed store. We just work as we need, manage it, try to sell everything that we can. You know, for instance, this morning we loaded a truck full of bale wrap that came from Canada, so that was our job. But no, we spend probably 16 to 20 hours a week at the feed sales, and then the rest are farming. You know how much that could be.
Yeah.
160 hours a week.
Yeah, like forever. Let me ask you this from an entrepreneur side of your mind. I want to get in your mind for a second. Like I love what you said about you're a people pleaser. Would you say that you like to do acts of service? Like, is that your thing? You like to chat? You like to help people? You know, he talked about that earlier. From someone who's curious about starting a business or a second business, right? In your case, do you have any advice for like the apprehension? Because the one thing we see from entrepreneur to entrepreneur, they always have some advice that got them over that hump. Obviously, you're farming, regardless of the innovation and regardless of how the time that may be freed because of the innovation that you're putting in your farm. What got you over that hump where you said, okay, I like people, but this is going to cost money. I'm going to have to reach out to Walnut Hills to see if they're interested. There had to be some kind of wall there, right? That you were like, should we do this or shouldn't we do this? What got you finally to jump over there? What was there fear? Was there apprehension? Was it just excitement? Like for someone that's trying to build a business, I just want to give them some advice. Like what got you there?
I'd say it was excitement. I was just throwing in the old catfish pole, and hoping it would grab, and I'd say it did. And the advice I would give people is stick to your roots, stick to your culture. Go into something that you feel is adaptable to your area. I mean, you think I could sell a blouse? Probably not.
Maybe.
So,
You're such a nice guy. Maybe.
It's a Mitch, maybe.
I'm okay. Shout out to two dads.
Yeah.
1.5 dads.
So if advice to someone that's going to try to start something from scratch or from learn, adapt to the area, adapt to the culture, figure out what you can sell as yourself.
Did that lead into your wife wanting to start the daycare? Did any of you starting the business say like, she's like, oh wow, I think I can do this, and you're like, hey, just go for it. Like, we got you. We'll do this.
Actually, she's been in it a bit. She started that when we started the robot milkers.
Okay.
And that was her dream as well. I remember dating, and she was always working at a daycare and everything, and her satisfaction was going to be to own one someday, and she can run it how she wants to run it, and, let's try it. Throw that fishing pole back out there again, and then we had to add on 4 years later, and it's been going well.
Do you ever think about what happens if it doesn't work? Does that even go through your mind? Like, do you ever think about, like, I love the eternal optimism that you have. I'm not saying we should have any pessimistic attitude, but like, you ever thought about the other side? Like, what if the daycare failed? What if the robotic milkers failed? What if the feed thing failed? You're going up against a lot of obstacles. Do you ever think about that as like in your mind, like when you're sleeping or laying in bed at night and stuff?
A little bit maybe, but I felt that we were young and we had plenty of time to make it work. The banks were on our side. The community was on our side. Close friends were on our side. Mm-hmm. We felt like it was doable.
I think it always goes back to, you said it all there, your family, your friends, having the banks on your side for, an entrepreneur is always a massive thing. We talked to Logan earlier when he had to do his and go and leverage his dad's farmland, just to get the stuff going. I think it speaks to the area too. I mean, they'll always support anybody around here that does good. So I think you probably see a good outpour of support locally. Mm-hmm. And hopefully that branches out to you. I'd buy from you, but I don't really need any feed mill or anything like that right now. But if I get into farming, you'll be the first 100%, guy I call.
100%. I hope people are listening to this that want to get the feed
farm.
from you. Yeah, exactly. But I hope people go to Kyle if they want to get into this. One of the questions I have, just to follow up, I know how difficult it can be at home for me and Tasha. Like, it's not always easy to say, like, leave work at work and come home and have nothing, just leave business where it is. What's it like having two people in the family in business? Because it now is your problems, the business's problems, Amanda's problems, and Amanda's business problems, and you guys got to come home every night and reconvene and come in and dust yourself off, take a shower. What's that dynamic like for you to balance the communication with a partner, to still be a good partner? Do you run any challenges with both having your own business?
Well, I'd say you hit that on the head. Sometimes, honey, it's okay, but sometimes, I get the blunt of things, but I want the blunt. I don't want her taking out on anybody else. Take it out on me because I can handle it. But yeah, it's challenging. She tends to leave work at work like she should, and I appreciate that. But when times need to be talked about, it's talked about. She does a lot of scheduling work on Sunday morning, which is kind of inconvenient, but that's when it needs to be done. In agriculture, animals eat every day of the week, so sometimes some people forget something and we throw it out for people or, meet them over there. But then we do have 5 kids running around, so sometimes the living room floor is a war zone, but you got to overlook that and just enjoy it because pretty soon, they're going to have their caps and gowns on. You're going to wonder where that time went. So be easy on it and just take a chill.
I like that. The communication. The eternal optimist. I can't crack him, Bill. I'm trying here to talk about like, hey, I'm scared of this. Or he's over here like, yeah, I want my wife yelling at me because I'm a great partner. I'm a good damn man and I show up every day and everything's like good for you, man. I love that. I think people can take a note from the eternal optimism.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot. We talk about Tasha and my wife Haley and how, we got a lot going on and, multiple businesses and things like that for both of us. And it's just without that other hand, right? Someone there, that rock that you can, and you probably get frustrated some days too, and she balances you out a little bit. But you always got to have someone with that same calm demeanor, right? If you're both going like this, it's not good for anybody.
Getting better at it myself. I used to be, the first year of any business, and I don't know if you can relate to this, Kyle, but like the first year of business, for me, in year 2, I see the chaos of year 1. Like year 1, like we talked about when we went to Boat and Bike Show, this was the first year we had data on something. Right. Like that's a crazy sentence for a business owner. Everything last year was just no clue of inventory, no clue. Like you at least had your grandpa and your dad and maybe some historical stuff, but like You buy your grandpa the first time, however many head of cattle, you're like, how much silage? Like, I don't know. I got to go ask the guy down the
Let me go
street.
check the notebook.
Yeah, he's checking stuff. So I relate to it. You know, one of the things that you had brought up that I'm still really, really interested in is sort of farming in 2025. I think your feed mill is amazing. I love that you tapped into the culture. You found something that could work around here, and your positive attitude and your love for your community to talk with them certainly carries that. I can tell why that business is successful. Talk to me a little bit more about farming. Like, what's changed the most in farming in the last 20 years? Like, what challenged you the most? Is it because we hear about it on the news, right? A little bit. Milk prices are changing and this and that. Is it regulation? Is it prices? Is it weather? What's the hardest to deal with lately?
Mitch, it seems like all three of those. The weather certainly can't be controlled. And then the price of things are just skyrocketed. Mm-hmm. And then the commodity, the corn and bean price just didn't follow.
You're saying that the prices of crops is not matching the increase in whatever, the cost of goods.
So that's constantly telling us we need to get more bushels per acre to make.
So increase your yield.
Yeah, to get, a revenue back. So technology with your planting, with your crop spraying, with your harvesting. So you're trying to get everything into it, then harvest everything back, and then use the genetics for your seed. And the last 20 years was huge. I mean, they're making 360 rains now that can pull up and down the fields and make it, rain on the crops where you want when you want them. We don't have those though.
That's crazy.
Not yet.
It's like weather control.
Yeah. No, it's, I guess for me, you talk about that, I love the numbers game because, like we had eggs we got to use chicken. There's prices that fluctuate.
Chicken went up crazy. Like,
chicken went up
it's
crazy.
Not the same, but
it's different, but it's, it's apples to oranges a little bit. I don't think people look at it from a retail or restaurant side like they might for you guys. I think it's easy because they have to buy it, right? Mm-hmm. Families have to buy eggs. Families have to buy milk. Families have to buy this. So they directly get affected by that. You're more the indirect, right? You get hit a little bit harder because you don't really determine the market.
That's correct, Bill. That's the weird thing. One farmer told me one time and stuck in my head the whole time. We buy retail price stuff and we sell wholesale price stuff.
That's not a fun business
Interesting
model.
note.
For
awesome.
comparison, though,
thought,
that'd be like us going and buying retail price chicken tenders at like Walmart or Kroger, right? Like, so you're paying an upscale price and then selling at the Gordon Food Service or the Cisco price in the bulk pricing. So, and that would, frankly, like, with all due respect, that would suck. That sucks.
I mean, there just wouldn't be many businesses. I think you talk about that with like the global, the bigger farms taking over because, they have the buying power and they kind of control the market to a degree.
Yep, that's for sure. But speaking of your chicken and fry truck, what about like a burgers and ice cream truck? I mean, you got a dairy farmer and a cattle guy.
Well,
here.
I got family doing the dairy station, Maria Stein. I really don't want to compete. Brian would be up my butt. You know what I mean? He's already up enough. If I trip and fall, Brian, he's gonna give you some heck. So yeah, maybe next. Maybe who knows?
Maybe we'll do burgers next.
Maybe throw some ice cream in there.
Let me just figure out how to get refrigeration of ice cream freezer storage. I can barely get some fryers next to a grill with buns. Like, I'm all over each other.
This was a fun fact. This was when I was first starting. This was before the season even started. It's not really ice cream, but it's shaved ice, right? So like icy machines. I was literally like, I'm Mitch. Like we could get an icy machine for like $350. And all you got to do is just keep water.
There's so much money in snow cones, Kyle. It's scary.
And you just got to keep water fed to it, and it just keeps shaving the ice, right? And then you say, hey, it's $3 for a snow cone. You get all your liquids out there, and they just, and you don't even have to touch it. And then I was just like, we should do it. And Mitch is like, let's get this chicken thing rolling before
Lemon Shake-Ups is the other one, just so you guys know. Ice cream,
99% margins.
Yeah, dude. Lemon Shake-Ups and snow cones are it's an absolutely diabolical business.
Cotton candy's probably third.
What's the price of water gone up in the last month? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just food dye, some sugar, and how much of those markets gone up? Not much, because I can tell you Americans love sugar.
Oh, and every kid walks through that food line and they see a slushy or an icy machine. They're just like, I need one of those, Mom, Dad. I don't want to pop. I don't want water. I want an icy.
Let me ask you both real quick, but just on a lighthearted note, hardships of farmers is a serious topic. You go to a festival, Okay, this is pertinent. You go to a festival. You go to the Mercer County Fair. Kyle, I know you're up there. You got some cattle and stuff up there. What's one go-to you have to have? Like, what's one food at the fair that you have to have every time you go? I'll start with Bill and then I'll go to Kyle.
I can't say TwoDads, right?
No.
Okay.
That would be amazing, though. So shout out. Besides TwoDads.
I would probably say elephant ears.
Okay. You like that powdered sugar?
Yeah.
That shit pisses me off.
It gets hot, powdered sugar.
Pisses
I think it's
me
good.
off. Just covers my body. I can inhale it. Okay, elephant ear is still a good answer. I shouldn't doubt you. Kyle,
I'm not gonna
what's something you got to have when you go to the Mercer County Fair? What do you got to eat?
Just a cheeseburger. Or a double if that makes you better.
That's good. I like the double.
But you know, one day I told my wife and kids last year, I said, we got to find that two-dad truck. Mm-hmm. What's that? I said, we got to find that two-dad truck.
That's right. You better come over by the grandstands. That's where all the city folk are, Kyle. You're in unfamiliar territory over there, buddy.
We found it. Guess who was working?
Who was Big Mike?
Yep.
Yay! Shout out to my dad. When he's not working some of the cow shows and really being a good, excellent judge, or running the Mercer County milkshake stand. He ran that for about 20 years. He's over now in the chicken prison, and he's going to die in a tornado. That's amazing. That's so good. Tell me about this real quick. I want to know your Lambeau story. So I got tipped off a little bit. I didn't put this on just for Kyle's sake. I didn't put this on the questions. We always try to give our guests a heads up of things to talk about, things not to talk about. Okay, this one's a little off the script. So for people that are listening, I want to hear the story. I was told that you went to Lambeau. And then Amanda, who we spoke so highly of this whole podcast, had to go into C-section surgery, or she was having a baby, right? What number kid?
Second.
Okay. I heard you had no credit card and no idea how to fly. So I start you there. What happened, Kyle? What happened?
Who told you this story?
Well, I'll share my sources at the end, maybe. A good journalist doesn't share his sources.
That's a great story. I've told this many a times, but it was a Packers-Bengals game up in Lambeau, and many of Bengal fans around that we run around with. And we were taking an Amish van, not easy riding. But my wife's like, I need to go to the doctor first to get a checkup. I'm like, yeah, we probably should. Doctor's like, I don't think I would ride in the van for 8 hours, but Kyle, you're free to go. Free to go.
That always goes over well.
Hey, doc said I was good. I'm leaving.
Exactly.
You got a doctor's note.
So like 2 days later, jumping in the van, wife staying home. She said, I can go. So that was Friday evening. We get there Saturday morning, enjoy the day, and enjoy the evening, Sunday's the game.
Who they playing?
Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
So we brought some Bengal fans. So we had some competition here.
That sounds like a great Sunday.
Amish van full of dudes and girls and, about 50-50 mixed between women
Packers
and men and Packers. And
that's fun.
yeah. And so Sunday morning, wake up. No call or nothing, no text from her. I was like, hey, what's no response, whatever. No biggie. She was doing her thing. I was doing mine. So we got on this bus and went from Milwaukee to Green Bay. And then some tailgate zones because the game wasn't till 4. Then I get the call. I'm going to the emergency C-section. I'm like, what? Whoa!
Go, Pat, go.
Yeah. So I walk back to my friends. I'm like, I don't know what to say. My wife's having a baby right now. And they're like, what?
She ruined it.
They're like, no way. Well, you used to be the life of the party, but that ain't going to happen anymore, they say. So I was like, white as a ghost, didn't know what to do. Shout out to Bones. He says drink 6 more beers and we'll reevaluate.
By the way, Bones, Justin Jones, huge fan of the podcast, does comment, sends nice messages.
That's awesome.
Shout out to Bones.
So lo and behold, I did that. And then we got back to the drawing board. And Biggins looks at me and goes, you need out of here? I'm like, yeah, I need to go. Don't know how, where, when. What are we doing? Let's go. So, yeah. Biggins took me out of there, and Green Bay Airport, pretty small. Mm-hmm. During a game, 3 people in there, Biggins, me, and a bartender wondering what we're doing in there. There's a plane leaving in like 10 minutes. Hey, here's cash. Get 2 of us on there. No, we can't do it that way. I'm like, what do you mean? Get us on that plane. No, we can't. No, sir, we can't do it that way. Okay. So we wait another 4 hours for the next plane to get us to Chicago. And then we're stuck there. The next plane was late.
Bagans went with you?
Yeah.
What a legend, by the way.
Oh,
That's
man.
a great. Okay, that's.
Well, we play again this year, so it's been 8 years.
I'm going up. You going up?
I owe him a return. So
Is your wife pregnant?
tonight, yes, she is.
Currently, no.
But currently she is. But
Oh, okay.
She's. Oh my gosh, she
I thought
actually
you
is
were
pregnant.
joking about doing it
She's
tonight.
actually pregnant.
at the date of the game,
You'll be
she
fine.
will not be.
Okay. Oh. We're really rolling the dice, Kyle. You think we talk about historical data this whole podcast?
Yeah.
Most history says you don't go up to Lambeau, brother.
So yeah, we're doing middle to the end of July. So excited about
Okay,
that.
you got plenty of time.
So anywho, we were like, how do we get home? So we asked the security guy. He's like, rent a center, get out of here.
You took a rental car all the way
So we
home?
ran home from Chicago.
Oh, it's gonna be faster anyway.
That's actually way faster, like 4.5 hours. Yeah, I
hours.
thought for some reason I was thinking Green Bay. Did you go to O'Hare? Like, where'd you have to? Yeah.
Yeah, but we went from Green Bay's airport to.
I can't believe they even had a flight there. I figured like the Green Bay would just be like a skip hopper over to Milwaukee that would get you somewhere more.
Probably could have took a boat across and got there faster at that point.
Well, I wasn't in my right mind.
Did you tell them that your wife was pregnant and they didn't
Oh,
care?
I'm sure I did, but they're like, you know.
Airlines. Bill was on Spirit the other day. They put a flight forward. I've never heard of that. I've heard flights moved back.
Yeah.
I've never heard of them say we're moving this flight up.
Well, it wasn't like last minute. It was like 3 weeks in advance. But yeah, it was like 10 a.m. to like 6
I didn't know it was
a.m.
3 weeks in advance.
Yeah, you can't do that late. But it was
That's
like 3
what I
weeks
was.
in
Well,
advance.
Spirit and what's the other one?
I get
What's
Frontier.
the other? Frontier. Yeah, the ones where they just strap you by your feet to the roof.
You
And
don't
just,
even get a seat. It's just a park bench.
how much money you got in your pocket, kid? That's how it's supposed to get there.
Were you trying to save some money or what?
No, it was just, it's just cheaper. It was like $250 cheaper. So we just hop on Spirit. It's way cheaper. It's not as good of an experience flying. Seats are terrible. You got to pay for airplane peanuts. But I've been to Green Bay one time. I'm 1-0 as a Saints fan in Green Bay. So
Ooh.
maybe I'll come up with you guys.
You should please come with
My
us.
buddies I got a bunch of buddies. All those guys I went with this weekend, diehard Bengals
I think
fans.
I'm going to bring Berkey. So Berkey is a Bengals fan. Drew, one of my really good friends, is a Packers fan. You should definitely go. I think our professional videographer who edits this podcast, Josh, is going to go.
Tax write-off. Let's go.
100%. Exactly. We got to spend some of this money
Literally,
we're making.
We're bringing our guests.
I'm a fan of tax
Oh, my God.
write-offs.
Yeah.
Done. We'll bring you. We're done. I promise. We'll buy your ticket.
And
We
I'll
got
go to
you.
the fans. I'll say this. I will wear either team's jersey. We'll put a poll up. More votes, I'll root for that team for the day.
You got to comment on @2dadspod on YouTube
Yep.
or on Spotify.
We'll put a special episode out. But yeah, Bengals or Packers, and I'll wear whatever
I
team
love
that is.
Before we get to our game show, because Kyle, we play a game show every time. I make a little game show for our friends. I do want to ask you something just to round this back, to round this podcast down. If someone came up to you tomorrow and said, Kyle, I want to start farming, what would be your honest advice?
Whoa. You better work for a farmer first. So whatever farming you want to get into, you better start there.
Why?
It's a hard one to start by yourself. There's nothing from scratch in that farming. Normally rooted from the family traditions and, then as you get married, your wife's got to be on board and to keep it moving. And
How many boys you got?
one.
One? Do you know? Okay, so do you know what this
Sensitive
one?
seed there, buddy. How
Yeah.
many? So you have 4 girls, 1 boy right now?
Yep.
And
Do
do
you
you
know
know
what
what's
the
up?
six is gonna be?
Oh no.
I'm just surprised.
You don't find out?
No.
I didn't do that with my second kid. It's the best thing you can get close to Christmas. It's as
great.
close as you can get to Christmas. Bill spoiled some Santa Claus things again a couple episodes ago. We're not going to bring that up, though. So if your kids are listening, don't listen to episode, I think, 5 or 6.
Don't listen to the Slime Moose one.
Yes. That was it. It was the select
It was 9 beers deep, and I let something slip, and
Yeah,
the editor didn't catch it.
Well, that's how we go. And Kyle, that sound means it's time for the game show. I have to ask you, are you interested in playing the Two Dads game show that I end every episode with?
Sure am.
We have no pregnancy tests here. We have no flights home. This one will be, this is called Pitch or Pass. It's a little Lambeau kind of flavor there, a little football flavor. We're tossing out some half-baked business ideas. I'm going to pitch you something like Shark Tank, okay? that may not involve cows and sunglasses. Who knows? You let us know if this is something you'd invest in, or should we bury it out back behind the barn, okay? So if you like it, you say pitch. If you don't like it, you say pass. Got it? All right, here we go. A TikTok channel where cows wear GoPros. Pitch or pass?
Pass.
Okay. A GPS-guided chicken herder robot. Pitch it or pass it? GPS-guided chickens? Is that on your list?
Pass.
Okay. Livestock vitamins in energy drink form.
Pitch.
Let's go. Daycare plus cow petting zoo combo business.
Pitch.
Okay, good. Soybean scented candles.
Pitch.
Okay, we love that. A self-driving grain cart that plays country music.
Pitch.
Let's go, baby. A podcast booth inside the feed store.
Ooh. Pitch.
All right, we like that one. Ag-only version of LinkedIn. Like farmers only.
No, what are we? 1% of the world? Might be a little bit small. Pass.
Okay. Our next merch on Two Dads, branded merch, got milked by a robot. Pitch or pass?
Just pass that out of here.
Okay, that's good. And farmer Tinder called Moo Mates. Pitch or pass?
Let's just get that out of your pass.
All right, that's Kyle. He's come on to talk about innovation and ad. Thank you so much for your time, Kyle. You're amazing.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
We had a blast with you. That's the episode of Two Dads Podcast, episode number 15. Tune in next week for another guest. We thank Kyle for being here. Slick Willie, anything to say before on our way out?
No, thank you, but I really was looking forward to the Moo Mates, man. I could just see the DNA strands going
I
through
want
there.
the new merch to be say, I got milked by a robot. That's next. Tune in for more. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.